go live. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the stream. TJ Guy. Interesting prospect here. Let's see, let's make sure you guys can hear me. Music not too loud. I can see my mic working. That looks good. Happy Wednesday, guys. Hope things are going well. We'll get going in a couple minutes here. Getting towards the end of the class here, man. Let's look at the remaining guys we got to cover after TJ Guy. I think we only got 2 more guys beyond a punter. We only have... Actually, we only have Tommy Doman and Dominic Giudice. How was the ice cream the other night? Oh, man, it was great. It was great. It's called Irma's. I think that's what it's called. Let me check. Irma's. Yeah, Irma's Original Frozen Custard. And they are one of the best frozen custard spots I think I've ever been to. So that stuff was dynamite, Andrew Decker. Can't beat that stuff. So if you're ever in the Metro Detroit area, go to Irma's. Irma's Frozen Custard. They have these, I guess you call them kind of like blizzards, you know, where it's custard mixed with different mix-ins and whatnot, and they always have different flavors of those, and it's just like, I would get one every night if I, you know, wasn't trying to be a little bit healthy, but it's really good stuff. But yeah, man, we only got 2 guys. These 2 guys, and then we're on to transfers. Transfer talk, I think that was a suggestion for what that series should be. But yeah, TJ Guy, just within the top 1,000 nationally. Did they update their rankings recently? Let me check. No, that's about where I had him. But yep, straight out of Don Brown territory here, out of the state of Massachusetts. All right, we're at about 8:30. Let's pull up the film. He actually has 10 minutes of film or so here, which is great. Actually like to see that quite a bit. Small face. Got to remember. Boom. I'm getting so good at that. Look at that. I remember this time. All right. So, what do we need to know about... Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do for the punter bit. I don't know. That's going to be an interesting analysis. I don't know how that's going to go. But edge prospect, 6'4", 240 for TJ Guy here, 3-star, 933 nationally. Previous Boston College commit, essentially committed to Michigan as soon as that offer came in. Athletic guy, plays fast. One of those guys where it's like, where the hell do we play this guy? Right? That's kind of what TJ Guy's all about. Brings a lot of versatility, but he's pretty raw in a lot of different ways. So let's dive into the film here. There. Plays with some violence, right? Gets off the line with pretty good quickness. He did show an ability there to stack and shed. So this is Division II of Massachusetts football. So keep that in mind. It's not going to be the top tier of Massachusetts even of what you'll get. So you'll see him a lot as defensive end there. Not the quickest release there. Gets around around the edge here. Not a whole lot of bend was needed on this one. More of a poor job from the offensive line there. He does show a spin move. That's pretty decent. So he's a guy that's you're just gonna have to marinate for a bit. Put him in the weight room, see what he turns into. Again, he does a decent job with his hands. I'd like to see him more extend his arms here a little bit. Right, he's a little bit out of control. He kind of like half-heartedly assisted on that play. Where was he? They don't even point him out. So he's on the right side, defensive end. I'm assuming this is him right here. That's a terrible circle, but you know what I'm pointing at. She's kind of a stand-up end there. Good speed, so good closing speed, right? He's got solid athleticism. Yeah, same play right there. But pretty raw in a lot of different ways. Can't even see a whole lot here because the goalpost is in the way. He is a little high to me. I'd like to see him like a little bit lower in his stance here as he breaks down. Yeah, I don't know. He's kind of one of the first guys I've been watching film on and looked at his ranking and be like, yeah, that's probably fair. Because he's in between positions, doesn't play against top competition, wasn't able to get to a whole lot of the same play. Wasn't able to get to any camps because of COVID. Just lots of questions with him, right? So I can understand his ranking there. Still has to bulk up. He looks pretty undersized, which is saying something because considering he's 6'4", 240, right? He carries 240 like it's closer to like 220 it looks. I don't understand these angles. They're never showing who exactly it is. So it's nice that he does have experience as kind of a stand-up end and a guy with his hand in the dirt. Here he's kind of on a delayed stunt. You can see right there. He needs to do a better job with his hands, okay? Notice how he kind of... Why is Siri? Get away from here. Sorry, Siri's trying to talk to me. You can see he kind of throws his shoulder into this guy right there at the point of contact, right? Instead of loading with his hands and delivering a punch, he's more loading with his shoulder. So I want to see better use of his hands there. He does do a good job keeping his head into the backfield, recognizing where the play is going, working to the inside, right? That's a good job, but I think he could be better with his hand technique overall. I don't know what that flag was, but regardless. Okay, bottom of the screen here again. Oh, now he goes into a 4-point stance. All right, there he does a pretty good job of breaking down, right? Good initial jump off of the snap there. Times that one pretty well. Again, good patience here, waiting for the option. I'd like to see him kind of like use his size a little bit more, right? There's no reason for him at this size to let this running back fall forward. What I mean by that is as soon as this guy commits to his inside here, he should be laying the wood, right? This should be a hit stick opportunity for him. Instead, he kind of like accepts the runner and brings him down instead of really imposing his will. You know, at his size, he should be able to affect guys a little bit more from a physical standpoint than he did. So maybe like aggressiveness could be an area of improvement there. Here he is on the outside here, kind of a stand-up D end. He's wearing a different number this time, right? There he does a good job using his hands. And this is where I see the most upside. Him as more of a bull rushing, strong side defensive end. I don't think he has a great bend around the outside. I just don't see that a whole lot. I think he can grow quite a bit and fill out his frame. You can see, and this is going to be weird. I'm going to say something kind of weird here, so don't judge me. But his lower body doesn't look very developed. A lot of these defensive linemen, you'll see after a couple years, their lower body, especially their butt, and again, I told you it was going to sound weird, but it grows quite a bit. And that's something he has a long way to go to actually be like a true defensive end. Bus Seat, welcome to the stream. He's more like a rushing outside linebacker in the new Michigan 3-4 than a D end. At this point, yes. Based on his size, okay? But I think his potential and his skill set are better suited as a true defensive end. So more of a 3-4 D end than like a rush linebacker, right? That's kind of, I think, what they're calling it, an edge, like rush, I think is the position that they're calling it. So I think size-wise right now he is of that edge or that rush type player, but I think his skill set aligns better with a strong side defensive end. So again here, notice how he's kind of dipping his shoulder here, and he's doing this to get around the edge. So it makes sense that he's trying to rip around the edge here. Don't see like elite bend there. He's more just using his speed to get around there and not he's not getting too low getting around that. But I think he can bulk up to like 270 no problem in a year under a good strength and conditioning program. I think his size, his frame, I just think there's a lot of areas where he can, it's going to sound weird again, but thicken his body, especially that lower body. There's a lot of strength that needs to be added there. And I think he can. So that's why like Chris Wormley, I think, was my comp. And that kind of aligns with that, where Chris Wormley was never like an elite pass rusher, but he had a really, really good bull rush. And this is another one where nothing that TJ Guy is really doing in this play. He's just doing straight line speed on a fumble there. Good job from him there, but he wasn't displaying elite edge rush here. I actually do like his film as an offensive tackle there. I think he has decent footwork, decent lateral quickness. So that's a decent backup option. But notice how, like, I don't know, he almost looks more like a tight end to me than a defensive end. And that's just strictly lower body. And that takes some time. But yeah, I mean, look at that as a like pulling guard. I think he has a lot of potential there too. Because that's pretty good quickness, right? Going across there, delivering that pop. I think he does a good job there. So I actually, at this point in his career, I kind of watched this film as, this left tackle. I think he would be more of a guard. But I was like, oh, there's a fair amount of potential there. I still think he fires off a little bit high here, right? He needs to get a little bit lower. He's not really under the pads of 66 there a whole lot. But we'll see. Versatility is the word that keeps coming up with him, just because there's a lot of question marks. And he's still young in his playing career. He only started playing football in 9th grade. So it's not like he's anywhere close to a finished product. Yeah, again, this isn't me. This is the source film, so I apologize for the quality there, but nothing I can really do there. But again, he's kind of going unimpeded, right? So in terms of like, what can I gather from this film with a clip like this? Not a whole lot. 75, I don't know what that offensive tackle is doing at all. This is pretty much a free pass for TJ Guy around the edge, right? Unimpeded, so he doesn't have to display a whole lot of skills. Again, decent speed around the edge there, but nothing that like, is making me go like, oh wow, those eyebrow raiser plays. It's pretty not so great competition, to put it lightly. There again, he shows off better hand placement and better punch as an offensive lineman at this point than defensive lineman. I think he just needs to be a little bit more refined in his technique on hand fighting as a defensive lineman, but as an offensive lineman, he has good punch. And I do like his get off. Okay, if you watch this again, he gets off the ball pretty well. I think he gets off the ball pretty well. Here, I'd like for him to keep his feet moving, right? Load up a little bit more. Get a little bit lower here. He should see this guy coming and collapse down, right? He should be at this point seeing this guy is pulling across and I need to shuffle to my right to close this gap, right? He should be reading this guard coming towards him. He has outside contain, and he should constrict this hole, keep his outside arm free, and take on this blocker. So again, kind of that aggressiveness I mentioned earlier, where he's kind of just standing there, right? He's a little bit, I understand he's shaded to the inside here. He needs to be constricting this hole. That hole is right now, if this is a college game, that running back is gone, because TJ Guy stood there right there instead of keeping his shoulders square upfield, right? Instead of pointed this way, point them this way. Keep your eyes inside like they are, but keep your body pointed this way so you can react one way or the other based on the running back. But he should be shuffling over, taking on this guard that's pulling, meet him at where the hole's supposed to be, outside arm free. This running back has no choice either to run into me, try to do like a weird bounce back, or try to go to the outside. But with your outside arm free, you should be able to redirect because your shoulders are square north and south. So because he turned his body here, it kind of gave an easier block here, right? He's given his entire chest to that guard, and that kind of created that hole for the running back. Luckily, he's able to disengage and pick that up, but I don't know why this is on his highlight clips. I'm actually glad it is, because we don't get to see this kind of areas of improvement that much in highlight film. So it's actually a really good film to include here, Where if he's just a little bit more aggressive here, and like I said, shuffling into the hole there, taking on that blocker a little bit more, instead of this being a 5-yard gain, right, 6-yard gain, it could be even a loss, at most a 1-yard gain. So area of an improvement there is just being a little bit more aggressive, understanding that, like, hey, you have an opportunity here to impose your will to really close this gap. But look at that offensive film, right? His get off on the offensive line here. He's able to load up a little bit, get a pancake there. He just looks a little bit more decisive on offense, which is understandable. And, he's a big guy, so he's able to, if you're not reacting and you're, delivering the pain as an offensive guard, you're blocking assignment there. You're likely able to do that with a little more confidence. So maybe defensive confidence is something he needs. I can't see him here. I think he's probably on the top of the screen here, probably that guy, but I can't really tell. This is really far away. Yeah, who's to say? I can't tell you what that play is. Okay, it's at the bottom of our screen now. Oh, sorry. Sorry, guys. Okay, here he does a better job. See what I mean? He actually, this time, he gets to the backfield. I would still like him to be pointed more north-south than he is, right? He's kind of shaded inside here. But watch, notice how he kind of shuffled inside there. That helps constrict the path there. He's able to recognize the quarterback, and then he's able to get the loss there. So that's good assignment football. Again, I think there are some things with his hips, with his technique overall, I think he could improve upon, but a better job that time than the previous play that we had went through. Here again, him as that left tackle, or this time he's as a tight end. It will just deliver the blow there. Stand-up end again here. I like that he has experience both with his hand in the dirt and as a stand-up end. That's good for just his versatility overall. There, 4-point stance. Again, this isn't like... The thing that's frustrating about this film is like, oh, wow, yeah, he's really firing off well. Able to get around the edge here. I just don't know what that offensive lineman is doing, It's like, well, what is this guy thinking? So with these plays, it's like, yeah, a good play, but we can't really learn a whole lot from that, right? And I think that's a common issue here. So one thing that was brought up with TJ Guy is questionable motor. So it's good to see that he's, making plays on special teams, not taking any plays off in that regard. So that's good to see in terms of, what's his motor look like. But here he is again. We got about 3 minutes left to film, I think. There, again, using that shoulder, right? Use your arms a little bit more. Seems, I can't tell exactly how long his arms are. It doesn't look like he has as long of length at 6'4". But again, he's loading up with his shoulder there, okay? Does a good job keeping his head up and working to the inside after that initial pop. But I think he could be doing a little bit more with his hands. So that's an area of improvement for sure for me. Where is he here? Oh, he's standing up on the outside here. Oh, a little spin move. Okay, first time we get to see that spin move. And that's good. Again, that shows an overall athleticism, right? Keep your balance. That's not easy to do at that size. So that's good. He's going to obviously need to improve upon that, keep offensive linemen guessing with his moves. We haven't seen, I think we only saw a couple bull rushes and then just kind of working around the edge. Again, this offensive tackle is just extremely overmatched. So showed off that swim move again. So he does have experience with a couple different moves, and that's good. At least he has exposure to that, right? And he has the balance to utilize multiple moves like that. So that's good to show. Good. This is a good clip. Again, this guy's probably a little bit overmatched, but that's really good get off, right? Look where he is right now compared to everyone else on the defensive line. He is flying off the ball. So if he can get some consistency there, and right there, this is like exactly what I want him to do a lot of the time, and where I think a lot of his value will be as a bigger defensive end that can really use a bull rush. With that speed, if he can utilize his hands like he is on the inside there, you're going to give a lot of offensive tackles some issues with that kind of bull rush. So that was kind of the first play where it was like, oh, he put a few things together there, and I get it after that clip. It's just about consistency. There, good job staying engaged the whole time. Blocked him into the bleachers, apparently. Where are we at? Oh my gosh. Why did they cut like 10 seconds before the play? Okay, it's at the top of your screen. 4-point stance. Again, really good get off, right? It's another play where he just, boom, he's off. Fired out of a cannon. Good pursuit from behind. There again, I think that was not. He's fast at his size, right? Like 6'4", 240. He's moving pretty well. I want to see him get his body on guys more. I think he should be like obliterating guys more than I've seen in this film. I think he's got the frame for that to absolutely destroy some of these guys, but he does a little bit more arm tackles. Here he goes for a little fake spin move, trying to set him up, right? I like towards the end of this, he has this kind of rip move. You can see with his right arm right there, kind of lock off that arm for the offensive lineman, fend it off. So that's good. Just iterate on that, continue to improve his hand technique. Where is he? Okay, operating in his kind of a stand-up rush linebacker. There again, when he's like on this game, I think this is the same game. He can fire off pretty quickly off the line of scrimmage. There he gets the quarterback pretty quick. So he has good acceleration. And when he fires off line of scrimmage fast, it's like really fast. It's just about being consistent. I don't know where he is on this play. Couldn't tell you. 79. Okay, he's on offense. He is the outermost offensive lineman right here. This is TJ guy. Yeah, he'd be an interesting guy. I would like to see him as a kind of like a tight end. I want to see his tight end film because his blocking overall I think is pretty solid, and he probably has enough speed and athleticism to at least hack it as a route runner. I don't know about his hands though, but it's a pass block maybe. Oh wow, nope, he just absolutely demolishes that guy. Okay, that's all we got. So, what are our thoughts? I think his ranking makes sense, man. I think he's got a long way to go. I think he's going to be a defensive end, very similar to Chris Wormley. That was my comp. I think he has plenty of weight to put on, a lot of strength in the lower body as well as upper body. So, I mean, he probably grow another inch, get 40, 45 pounds on, and I think he's got more than enough size to make that happen. And I like his skill set when he's firing off quickly. That's rare for a guy, even at this size already, to be firing out with that. If he can keep that, put on, like I said, those 30, 40 pounds, and keep that sort of quickness, build on that power, I think there's a lot of potential there. But he's inexperienced, right? He's got a lot of work to do with his, I think, overall football confidence. I think he needs to be more assertive in a lot of his play. Hand technique, we'll see on his overall bend. I feel like it's hard to diagnose when you're in D2 in Massachusetts, right? It's just not something that you're going to really need a whole lot, a guy of his athleticism, to rely on that. But at the next level, obviously, he'll need to ensure that he practices up on that. So it's going to be a project. It's going to be a couple years. And with how many defensive end shaped bodies Michigan has now accumulated, I think you're looking at 2024, honestly, as the most likely time for him to start cropping up. You could see him in 2023, maybe as a rotational player, get in garbage time around that time as a redshirt sophomore. But I think as a redshirt junior, that's going to be his opportunity to break through. And, I had Chris Wormley as his comp. I think that's like for sure the ceiling, right? Chris Wormley was a 3rd round draft pick. I don't think that would be the case for TJ Guy. I think he's going to be like a rotational player. I think he's going to flash some things here and there. If he's going to break out, it's going to be as an upperclassman, just because I see a lot of work there, a lot of work to do in the weight room. And when you have a guy who needs to really get his position locked down, think of a guy kind of like Chase Winovich, who came in as a linebacker, kind of outgrew the position, bounced around a few positions. Once he found his position, he was able to get there. So when you have a guy like TJ Guy, you don't really know what you have just yet. You got to put him through the weight room. You got to put him kind of through the program for a year or two to really understand, okay, how are we best going to utilize this individual? So it's really nothing against TJ Guy in that regard. He's young in his experience. Only been playing football for 3-4 years now. And it's just going to take time to understand where he's best suited on defense. There's the mental aspect to learn technique. And then, just get that body, sculpted for that position. I think strong side defensive end with the ability to move inside, utilize that quick off the snap agility that he does have. I think he has a great frame to add a lot of strength, and he showed the balance. He showed some ability in a spin move, a swim move. I think he showed enough there to get me excited about his moves that would suit him well on the inside, the interior defensive line, compared to the outside. So, upperclassman contributor with a chance at starting. I don't see NFL, but again, he's super young. He's just got a lot of development, a lot of ground to cover before you can, start to see someone as NFL talent. Off the topic, do you think Daylen Baldwin will be a starting wide receiver? I talked about him in the last video. I can talk about him a little more. I think he, at the very worst, is going to be one of the first wide receivers off the bench. So it's a matter for me, how quickly can you learn the playbook? Okay. And as a wide receiver, there's a lot less to do there than like a defensive player or quarterback, right? So I think Michigan will be able to utilize him right away. It's a matter of, will he start outside with Cornelius Johnson or instead of Cornelius Johnson, right? Will he come in and kind of replace Cornelius Johnson as that starting bulkier, wider, like taller wide receiver type? Or are they going to put Ronnie Bell in the slot and have both Cornelius Johnson and Daylen Baldwin start on the outside? I think you can do both. I think you will see a lot of lineups that take advantage of him in both of those ways. So if I'm a betting man, I bet he'll receive about the same amount of targets as any other upperclassmen. I'm talking like Cornelius Johnson, Ronnie Bell. I think he has the skill set, and I think it's a position where you can contribute right away with minimal impact on learning the playbook, things like that. I think you can ramp up pretty quickly as a wide receiver. So if I were a betting man, I think he'll turn into a top 4 wide receiver on the team. And that's amongst both outside guys and slot players. So the thing I like most about it gives Michigan a lot of versatility, right? As I said, you can move Ronnie Bell now into the slot rather than having him little bit out of position as an outside wide receiver, right? You can now have both Baldwin and Johnson as your tall wide receivers, and that kind of stretches out the defense. You know, they need to ensure they have length to compete with taller wide receivers. Adds some more dynamics in the red zone, right? You get more of a jump ball guy with Baldwin, and you flank that on the opposite side with Cornelius Johnson. Defenses are left a little bit, more on their toes. They have to guess which side of the field you're going to with both of those taller wide receivers. So it gives you a lot more options, and it's nice to bring in a guy who's experienced, right? Sure, it's Jackson State, it's not FBS, but he's got a lot of experience, and he was, one of the most productive guys in the FCS in the spring. So that's great to see. So that was a long-winded answer of, I think he'll get starting level snaps. But because you're rotating wide receivers all the time, I'm less focused on like, will he be starting? Because I think he'll be a part of the rotation as good as a starter, right? Kind of like Roman Wilson, where he's the first guy off the bench, but he got, plenty of snaps where you could say like, yeah, he's one of the starting wide receivers. And I think that's the same for Baldwin. Okay, guys, I'm going to cut it. I'm going to go take a nap or something. I'm tired today. All right. Take a nap. It's 9 p.m. All right, like the video, guys. Subscribe if you haven't already. We'll be back next week. We'll be covering, who else we got? We'll be covering Dominic Giudice and Tommy DeMond. And that'll be it for Freshman Feature 21, and then we'll move into the transfers. All right, guys, thanks for coming and hanging out. I'll talk to you guys next week.